Hi everybody, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Hallmark Plus More, where we watch and talk about shows, movies, mysteries, Hallmark ornaments, and anything else that floats our boat. So today I'm going to be reviewing a Hallmark Christmas movie called The Christmas Charade. So it is definitely an interesting movie. It's about a librarian and an FBI detective as they try to uncover a mystery, so to speak. So the beginning of the movie, you see the main character, Whitney. She's a librarian. She's in her house and she's watching a movie. And they show the movie on the TV, and it's actually a cameo of another Hallmark actress, Kristen Booth. She plays Shane in the Signed, Sealed, Delivered movies, which I love. So I definitely love that little cameo with her in it. It's only for a few minutes, but it definitely starts the movie off right? Because it makes you think of the Signed, Sealed, Delivered movies, and she plays Shane, who is incredible. So if you haven't seen any of those movies, look them up. They're great. So I definitely like the little cameo in the beginning. But getting into the movie, so basically she is an only child. Her parents own a home security system company. So she kind of grows up always playing it safe. And she is a librarian in an elementary school. So basically, her friend Rachel is getting married to her fiance Kurt. They met online. So they set her up on this blind date, which she's a little reluctant to do, but she goes on this date. And it's Christmas time, so everybody's wearing festive colors. And he's supposed to be wearing a green sweater, where most men are wearing green sweaters around Christmas time. So she sits down to the wrong table, and it turns out to be an FBI gentleman who is playing undercover, and another agent was supposed to show up to be his fake girlfriend for this undercover op. And of course she sits down at the table and he thinks she's the agent. So there's a little bit of a mix up there, but the people that they're investigating walk in, so he's got no choice but to kind of just wing it with Whitney, who is not an agent. She's a librarian who thinks she's on a blind date, but she's really with an undercover FBI agent on I don't want to say a sting operation, but on a mission, and one of those was having lunch with these suspects. So it was definitely interesting and a little bit of conflict to kind of see them work through that. And then, of course, since she meets them for lunch, she's kind of stuck on the case because she's supposed to be the girlfriend. So she actually turns out planning what they call the mistletoe ball. She plans this charity event with the suspect's wife, Patty. So it's interesting to see how the movie goes along. Obviously, Whitney is not in the FBI, doesn't know anything about it. So he's kind of teaching her, like, okay, you're going to pretend to be my girlfriend. You need to know some of these skills, since you're kind of in this undercover op with me now. And I always thought, since her parents were in the home security company business, that was going to come into play somehow. She's always kind of played it safe. But I thought, now that she's playing an undercover op as his girlfriend, maybe that knowledge will come into play at some point. So basically, 6 artifacts have been stolen. The undercover agent, or, the FBI agent, he is Agent Dawson, first name Josh. He believes that they stole them. There's no evidence that they stole them, but there is a very expensive $10 million expensive necklace that only comes out once a year at this Christmas Eve mistletoe ball, and he wants to be there so that he can kind of prove that these suspects took the necklace as well as the other 6 artifacts. So, like I said, kind of roped Whitney in it, not really knowing what's going on, but she pretended to be the girlfriend for this lunch, so now she's in it. And Josh basically goes, okay, if you're going to be in it, then you're going to have to know a couple things, and kind of takes her on I don't know, a spy one-on-one, training session, a quick training session of what to do with an agent. And one of the things I love, or spy training, so to speak, one of the things that I love in this little quick lesson or training was texting. He was like, look, you have to be able to text without looking at your phone. Your phone's in your pocket, you got to learn how to text. And I thought that was really interesting and a cool little spy trick, because let's face it, we've all seen these spy movies, these mystery movies, where they're texting with their nose, or they're texting, without even looking, and it's coming across, with real words. So I thought that was kind of a cool task, I guess, so to speak, that she had to do in the spy training that Josh put her through. And then meeting with Patty, the suspect's wife, to plan this. She kind of found out where the necklace is right now, and where it's being held. So obviously that's information that's going to help Josh. It's being held at the museum with 4 guards watching it at all times. So they kind of have this idea, why don't we make a replica of a fake jewels on the diamond, and then we'll go down and we'll swap out the necklace. So that way when they do steal it, they're stealing a fake, and we're going to have a little camera or GPS tracker in the fake necklace, and we'll be able to kind of catch them in the act. So it's a great plan. But when they go to swap out the necklace, something goes wrong, the alarm goes off, they aren't able to do it, and they got to get out. So, obviously there's a little bickering between them and conflict, but it's definitely nice to kind of see that. I love crime drama, crime shows, and you always have that. You always have a seasoned, experienced detective or police officer, and he's being teamed up with, somebody who's not experienced, and you kind of see that conflict and drama form. So this didn't disappoint. The same thing, same concept. However, she has these dinners and these game nights with their parents that she never misses. So she's going to have to miss their annual Christmas Eve game night because she has to go to this ball, and she's participating in this undercover operation. So she basically tells her parents, we'll come over on the 23rd, because now they find out she has a boyfriend, fake boyfriend, but she's not telling her parents that. So Josh, he doesn't have any family. So he goes over, or I should say, he goes over to Whitney's house. Whitney's parents come to the house, and the 4 of them play Christmas charades. And it was kind of interesting, to kind of watch her interact with her parents and her so-called boyfriend and how he interacts. So that was kind of a cute little scene there with all 4 of them playing Christmas charades. And then she basically tells her parents, yes, I'm going to go to this ball on Christmas Eve. Jason got tickets, and that's why I can't be with you. So then Jason, the parents leave Whitney's apartment, and you can kind of hear their conversation. They're like, hey, he seemed really nice, but something's not right. She's still hiding something from us. So it seems like the parents really aren't buying them as a couple. So that was kind of interesting as they leave. They don't really buy it. They think there's something else going on. So then they go to the ball. She has the fake necklace in her purse, and they're going to do a switch. Well, Patty surprises everybody at the ball and has them dance, because she said she was a former dancer. And then her parents show up, and she's like, Mom and Dad, what are you doing at the ball? Well, we kind of wanted to see you in action. You said you were coming. And she was obviously thrown off by her parents being there. And that kind of rang a bell to me. That was an alarm bell for me. Like, how did you go to the ball? This, it's showcasing a $10 million diamond. This is a fancy, ball. This is a fancy event. How did the parents all of a sudden within 24 hours get tickets? So I thought right away that was a little odd. And then you hear the lights go off, and then you see the necklace was stolen. And then Josh is like, great, we just failed the mission. You know what I mean? The necklace got stolen before we could switch it with the GPS tracker. So you're like, oh, that sucks. Like, yeah, he's not happy. And Whitney thinks that, she let Josh down. She's not a seasoned agent. So they're both kind of bummed. And then they go. They go and they actually see Henry, who is the museum director. He's actually leaving with the necklace. So you're like, oh, okay, he's the one who stole it. And then they also see her mom and dad get held hostage. You can see like her mom and dad being snuck into the back of the van. So you're like, great, they failed the mission and now her parents are hostages. Like, this is terrible. We have to figure something out. So you kind of find out who stole the necklace, but you also are now worried about her parents. So I definitely love how in the end of this movie, there's this little plot twist. You find out her parents, they were captured as hostages, but when you open the back of the van and they find them, the parents have the guards, you know, on their backs, and they're basically like holding them down, and you're like, whoa, the parents totally flipped in the van. And you find out they're previous FBI agents. That's how they were able to get the tickets so fast. That's how they were able to know who Josh was, because his alias was Johnny, introduced him as Johnny, and they called in some favors and found out. So basically, Whitney's parents were in the FBI for 7 years. They worked together. They fell in love. When they realized they were pregnant with Whitney, they got out of the business and bought a home security system company and never told Whitney they were part of the FBI. So when they thought this Johnny boyfriend was suspicious, they called the FBI, found out his real name is Josh Dawson. He's an agent. And then they get to the party. They see him dancing. They see Whitney is staring at her purse like her life depends on it. And they open up her purse. They find it. They're seasoned FBI agents. So they're like, oh, you know, the bait and switch. Like, I know what they're going to do. So they created the diversion, turn off the lights, and they did the switch. So it turns out the necklace did have the GPS tracker because the parents, ex-FBI agents, figured out what was going on and did it for them. So they were able to catch Henry because now they had a GPS tracker on the necklace. So it ends great. They were able to, you know, catch Henry. And he stole the necklace. But then, and they have a little blowout. Whitney and Josh kind of have words. And Whitney finds herself alone in the museum and she sees a painting is missing, which she had a conversation with Henry about what the painting means. And then when she was planning the ball with Patty, she also mentioned it. So when they catch Henry and he's in the interrogation room and he's like, oh, she's good, because they told the FBI another painting was missing, or a painting was missing along with the necklace. And when Henry said she, then they immediately thought Patty. However, Whitney noticed it too. Once Whitney noticed the painting was gone, it knew in her mind, she's like, Patty's the thief, not her husband. So she went to her house, was able to stall her a little bit until the FBI got there and was able to arrest Patty because she was taking a trip. She was leaving. But Whitney figured it out and confronted her, and apparently that was all she really needed to do. Slow her down a little bit. FBI comes in and arrests Patty, the suspect's wife. So a couple twists, you know what I mean? Love plot twists, love it. Love mysteries. If you've seen my videos or you hear me talk about, I love puzzles, I love mysteries. So definitely love trying to figure out, you know, who's going to try to steal it. Because again, this was kind of an undercover op. So it wasn't really a matter of like, you know, who the killer is or who the robber. You just want to know like who is going to steal the necklace, right? And why, because you always want to know that, who done it and why they did it, right? So definitely a great ending. Love the plot twist about the parents being the FBI agents and doing the switcheroo with the necklace and the lights out. So definitely a great movie with a little bit of a plot twist in the end for sure. So that's a little bit about the review of the movie. What I'd like to do now is just kind of go over my Gen rating. So when I do a rating, I just talk about like what I loved, what I didn't love, were the characters believable, you know, did I really feel like the actors and actresses that played those characters did well. If I jumped into the movie in real life, would I believe that those characters, that he was FBI, she wasn't, she was a librarian. And then the last thing that I do for my reviews is what I call the feels, my overall feel of the movie. So with this, I definitely like the plot twist at the end, so definitely a great rating for that. Loved the characters, loved the plot twist. Love that the parents were so protective of her, and then in the end you find that they were ex-FBI agents. Loved that. Loved the plot twist. Loved that. What I disliked about the movie, and is something silly, but it is going to affect my rating. One thing that I disliked about the movie was there was one scene where they were trying to replace the necklace, like I mentioned earlier, and they were up in the ceiling, kind of going through the ducts there to get into the room with the necklace was being stored. And she makes a comment about Die Hard, saying it's the best Christmas movie ever. So I am not going to debate. I'm not going to tell you what I think, if Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not. I know it's a big heated debate. But what I will say is I don't believe it's the best movie ever. So when she said it's the best Christmas movie ever, I'm like, I have a lot more Christmas movies that I love. So for that, I was like, oh, you're saying it's the best movie ever? No, not the best Christmas movie ever. I don't like that he mentioned that because, like I said, there's always an ongoing debate. Was it or was it not? But there's so many other great Christmas movies out there. So I really didn't like that about the movie. I know that sounds silly, but I was like, seriously? You're going to have a discussion on Die Hard being the best Christmas movie ever? No, don't agree with that. So I definitely think the characters were believable. And I like the feel of the movie, how I felt about the storyline, how the overall feel of the movie. Love the plot twist at the end. Absolutely. Did I think the music director Henry was the one who was going to steal it? I mean, I had my thoughts about it. Anytime I watch a movie like this, the wheels are turning in my head, right? I'm trying to figure out the who and the why. Definitely didn't think at the end Patty was the one. So well done, Hallmark, for throwing us a loop there and making Patty the one. Once they said the painting was missing, I kind of put two and two together, only because Henry had a scene with Whitney explaining the painting, and then you hear Patty talk about it with the dancing. And the other artifacts that were missing. So definitely a good movie. Like I said, there was that one part that I didn't like, but loved the plot twist in the end about having the parents be ex-FBI agents. Love that. So for this, with all that being said, my gen rating, I would say my gen rating for this particular movie, I actually would give 4 gold crowns. So my gen rating for this is 4 gold crowns. And honestly, I really just didn't like them saying Die Hard was the best Christmas movie ever. So Hallmark, next time, take that out of movies. So you got 4 gold crowns as my rating for this movie. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, I will see you next time in the next movie review. Bye.